SpongeBob SquarePants is a show that you thought was just about a quirky sponge living in a pineapple under the sea, but there's obscure lore hidden in plain sight. Beneath the surface of Bikini Bottom, there are dark fan theories, strange character backstories, and cryptic messages that take this show far beyond your typical children's cartoon. What if SpongeBob isn't the sweet and innocent guy he seems to be? Or what if Squidward is just a frustrated creative spirit? SpongeBob has become more than a simple children's cartoon. It sparked wild fan theories, hidden messages, and even some controversial debates. From mysterious origins to hidden depths in the characters, like the true meaning of Squidward's appearance, this show has layers that go unnoticed unless you're willing to take a deeper dive. When I first watched SpongeBob, I didn't know Bikini Bottom's name is tied to a real, very controversial place. Bikini Atoll, a part of the Marshall Islands in the Pacific Ocean, which was the site of US nuclear tests during the 1940s and 1950s. This real-world connection has led to one of the most popular fan theories about SpongeBob, that the characters are actually mutants created by the radiation from these nuclear tests. When you think about it, it starts to make sense. How else do you explain talking sponges, squirrels in astronaut suits, and crabs running fast food joints? But it goes deeper. Bikini Atoll was left uninhabitable after the tests, with severe environmental damage that can still be seen today. So the theory that Bikini Bottom's inhabitants are a result of radiation poisoning becomes eerily plausible. See, here's the thing. Sometimes the stuff that looks the simplest is hiding the most interesting secrets. And it's not just in SpongeBob. This goes for a lot of things in life too. If you pay attention, you'll notice that there's always more beneath the surface if you're willing to look for it. Some fans even speculate that the show itself is a dark commentary on the after effects of nuclear devastation, disguised as a kid-friendly cartoon. The fact that the series creator, Steven Hillenburg, was a marine biologist gives this theory even more weight. After all, he would have been well aware of the environmental impact of nuclear testing on marine ecosystems. Could Hillenburg have slipped in a subtle message about environmental destruction while keeping it wrapped in comedy? Now, let's switch gears and take a closer look at the most prominent themes of the series. One of the most prominent themes is friendship and community. SpongeBob's relationships with his friends Patrick, Squidward, and Sandy are central to the series. Despite their differences, this crew of characters forms a tight-knit, if sometimes dysfunctional, community. SpongeBob's interactions with his best friend Patrick are heartwarming in their simplicity, while his relationship with Squidward is more complex. Squidward might loathe SpongeBob's enthusiasm, but there's a sense that deep down, even he can't help but admire SpongeBob's relentless positivity. Beyond friendship, the show also subtly touches on the idea of community in Bikini Bottom. It's a bustling, if bizarre, undersea town where everyone knows each other. The residents from Mr. Krabs to Mrs. Puff may have their quirks, but they all play a role in creating the fabric of this strange little society. In many ways, Bikini Bottom reflects the kind of tight-knit small towns that we're familiar with. Everyone has their place, no matter how absurd. Whether it's the infamous Bubble Buddy episode where SpongeBob befriends a sentient bubble, or the time when he and Patrick sell chocolate bars door to door, the absurdity is the point. In many episodes, the absurdist humor serves as a way to question or exaggerate everyday life. For example, the Krusty Krab's obsession with profit mirrors real-world capitalist businesses, while the bizarre adventures often show how SpongeBob's relentless optimism can overcome the most nonsensical obstacles. But SpongeBob's optimism could be seen as psychotic depending on how you look at it. Sure, he's fun-loving and carefree, but some fans believe SpongeBob's unrelenting positivity hides something much darker. Take a closer look at his behavior. SpongeBob is someone who's willing to go to absurd lengths just to keep everyone around him happy, whether it's pleasing his boss, Mr. Krabs, or being the best fry cook the Krusty Krab has ever seen. Something some of us all will definitely recognize. And that's exactly where things start to get a little unsettling. Some fans suggest that SpongeBob's obsessive need to be perfect and liked by everyone is a sign of hidden anxiety. Think about how often SpongeBob is crushed by failure or rejection, from the episodes where he loses his confidence to the times when he panics about small mistakes. His emotional highs and lows are extreme. In one moment, he's beaming with joy, and in the next, he's spiraling into full-blown existential dread. Is this just a cartoon exaggeration, or does it reveal a character who's constantly masking deeper insecurities? Some fans even argue that SpongeBob's behavior borders on insanity. His over-the-top reactions, his childlike naivety, and his seemingly endless energy sometimes come across as manic. In fact, some viewers have likened him to a workaholic who refuses to acknowledge his own limits. Someone so consumed by his role as the perfect employee and friend that he's lost touch with reality. There's even an argument that SpongeBob represents the absurdity of adult life, where we're all just playing roles driven by societal expectations. For example, Squidward. If SpongeBob is the eternal optimist, then Squidward Tentacles is his polar opposite. He's grumpy, cynical, and constantly fed up with life. At first glance, it's easy to dismiss Squidward as a bitter, self-absorbed character. But beneath his sarcastic exterior lies a tragic hero in his own right. Squidward is a frustrated artist stuck in a life that doesn't appreciate his talents. In his mind, he's a misunderstood genius, forced to work as a cashier at a fast food joint, living next to someone whose endless optimism only highlights his own misery. The irony of Squidward's character is that his dreams of becoming a successful artist are constantly crushed, not by the world, but by the absurd reality he's trapped in, Bikini Bottom. There's something undeniably relatable about Squidward's plight. He's the adult who had big dreams but now finds himself in a job he despises, surrounded by people who don't understand him. His failed attempts to showcase his art, his musical talents, and even his refined tastes are a constant source of disappointment. Yet, no matter how many times he's knocked down, Squidward keeps pushing forward, clinging to the hope that one day he'll get his big break. I mean, we've all had a Squidward day, right? It's kind of crazy how these characters can represent something bigger, like the different sides of our personalities or even mental states. And maybe that's why these shows stick with us. It's not just that they're funny, we relate to them on a deeper level, even if we don't realize it. There's also an argument to be made that Squidward is a symbol of the creative spirit being crushed by a society that doesn't value art. While SpongeBob excels in his job, Squidward's real passion goes unnoticed and unappreciated. He spends his days surrounded by mediocrity, with SpongeBob's relentless happiness only serving as a reminder of his own failure. Is it any wonder that Squidward is constantly on the edge of a breakdown? With his never-ending frustration with SpongeBob's relentless cheerfulness, how much more can he endure before finally snapping? And then we have Mr. Krabs, who's known for his love of money. But underneath that charming greed lies a much darker character than we might initially think. Sure, he's funny with his over-the-top obsession with profits and penny-pinching ways, but if you start digging deeper into his actions, it's hard to ignore just how ruthless he can be. In fact, some fans have argued that Mr. Krabs is the true villain of SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, SpongeBob is the best fry cook in Bikini Bottom, and yet Mr. Krabs pays him next to nothing. And then there's Squidward, who clearly hates his job, but is stuck working at the Krusty Krab for what is likely a similarly low wage. It's a running joke that Mr. Krabs will do anything to save a penny. He's willing to sacrifice his employees' well-being for the sake of his profits, and that doesn't exactly make him a role model. Then there's his relationship with Plankton, his former best friend turned rival. While Plankton is often portrayed as the antagonist, constantly scheming to steal the Krabby Patty formula, Mr. Krabs isn't exactly innocent in their feud. In fact, Mr. Krabs seems to take pleasure in Plankton's failures, going out of his way to sabotage him. Yes, I know that Plankton has spent years devising elaborate schemes to take down Mr. Krabs and bring success to his failing restaurant, the Chum Bucket. But is Plankton really a villain, or is he simply a misunderstood genius trying to survive in a world that doesn't appreciate his brilliance? From the start, it's clear that Plankton isn't your typical antagonist. He's driven by his failure. He's the ultimate underdog, constantly overshadowed by his rival, Mr. Krabs. Despite his best efforts, the Chum Bucket remains empty, while the Krusty Krab thrives. His schemes, though villainous in nature, often stem from a place of desperation and envy. Plankton isn't just trying to destroy Mr. Krabs, he's trying to prove that he's capable of success. Some fans argue that Plankton's real problem is that he's misunderstood. Unlike Mr. Krabs, who's obsessed with money, Plankton's goal is innovation. He genuinely believes that if he had the Krabby Patty formula, he could change the fast food game in Bikini Bottom. But instead of being recognized for his brilliance, he's labeled as the bad guy. It's a classic case of genius not being appreciated in its own time. But what's actually in this Krabby Patty formula? I mean, it's the ultimate plot device, constantly protected, always desired, and never fully revealed. But why is it such a closely guarded secret? The most popular fan theory, and by far the most disturbing, suggests that the key ingredient in Krabby Patties might be crab. Yes, you heard that right. Mr. Krabs is selling his own kind to the residents of Bikini Bottom. The theory comes from the fact that we never really see any other crabs in the show apart from Mr. Krabs and his mom. Could it be that Mr. Krabs is the last surviving crab because he's been using his species as the main ingredient in his burgers? His restaurant's name, the Krusty Krab, doesn't do much to dispel this theory either. After all, why name your establishment after yourself unless there's a deeper, more sinister reason behind it? I think there's more to this theory. Is Mr. Krabs just a brilliant businessman who found the perfect recipe and is milking it for all it's worth? The Krabby Patty formula is never actually revealed, leaving room for all kinds of speculation. Some fans think it's a vegetarian patty, which would explain why everyone in Bikini Bottom, including fish, is so obsessed with it. Others suggest that it's some kind of addictive substance. We have seen the residents of Bikini Bottom becoming obsessed with Krabby Patties. Could the formula contain something designed to keep customers coming back for more, much like real-world fast food chains? What if the Krabby Patty formula is a mystery wrapped in secrets far deeper than anyone in Bikini Bottom realizes? The way Mr. Krabs guards it so fiercely hints at something more than just a simple recipe. It suggests that the formula might hold the key to unimaginable power, or perhaps even danger. See, people love to dig into these darker corners and come up with theories that completely change the way we see these characters. And we're all a part of this big conversation about what these stories really mean. And what does that say about us? Well, maybe it says that we love finding meaning in everything, even in the wacky, absurd world of SpongeBob. Believe it or not, there's a darker side to SpongeBob SquarePants. Beneath the brightly colored world of Bikini Bottom lie hidden messages that give the show an entirely different tone. One of the most popular and darkest theories is that the characters in Bikini Bottom represent the 7 deadly sins. SpongeBob, with his boundless enthusiasm, is said to embody lust, not in a romantic sense, but in his intense passion for life. Patrick represents sloth with his lazy attitude, while Squidward's constant irritation makes him the perfect stand-in for wrath. Mr. Krabs, with his obsession for money, clearly represents greed, and Plankton's desire to steal the Krabby Patty formula marks him as envy. Sandy's pride in her Texan heritage and physical abilities aligns her with pride. And Gary, SpongeBob's pet snail, is said to symbolize gluttony, always demanding to be fed. While this theory might seem far-fetched, it does add an intriguing layer of depth to these seemingly innocent characters. On top of these fan theories, there's also been some real-world controversy surrounding the show. Several episodes have been pulled or edited due to their content. One notable example is the episode Midlife Crustacean, which was removed from circulation for its inappropriate humor, including a scene where SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs break into a woman's house to steal her underwear. Episodes like these raise questions about the boundaries of what's appropriate for children's programming. With these darker themes and hidden layers, SpongeBob is not another goofy cartoon. Instead, it transforms into a show with mysterious undercurrents, where not everything is as innocent as it seems. And maybe that's why the show resonates so deeply with both children and adults. But what do you think? Are these fan theories just fun speculation, or could there be something deeper at play? Do you see SpongeBob as a symbol of pure innocence, or is there a hidden darkness beneath that smile? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, take care and stay tuned.